It was for sure a tough end for the Thunder season, being just one win shy of breaking into the playoffs. But OKC fans have plenty to be excited about with what this young team can become in the future. Having SGA, who's only 24, Josh Giddey, who's improving rapidly before our eyes, and they've still got their second overall pick, Chet Holmgren, who will have a massive effect on both ends of the court. But there's another young player who's going to have a big role for OKC in the years to come, and that's rookie Jalen Williams out of Santa Clara. And in this video, we're going to go over what made Jalen so effective on the court this year, and what he needs to improve on as he continues to develop over the next few seasons. So Jalen is a 6'6" wing/guard, and he's been a consistent starter for OKC all year. And what's interesting about J-Dub's role is that even though he's playing alongside two very talented backcourt players, in Shea and Josh Giddey, he's still got a lot of reps with the ball in his hands. And according to Synergy, most of his usage for this year came out of pick and roll. When Jalen is playing with the ball, he has really good physical tools, being lengthy and having deceptive strength. He's great at maintaining both control of the ball and his body while he's initiating contact, which allows him to keep his driving line on the perimeter and play through bumps in the paint. Williams also has a really good first step and burst off the dribble. Notice on this play how upright and casual he is, but then you'll see him go through, then quickly drop his stance and blow past Poole. The Thunder all year love using ghost screens with J-Dub, which is just when the screener immediately slips and doesn't seek out contact. And this is just meant to briefly freeze and confuse the on-ball defender, giving the ball handler a slight advantage. When Jalen is playing with the ball, those ghost screens give him angles to attack, allowing him to unleash all his physical tools. This was the fourth quarter of their play-in game. You'll see the Thunder use SGA as the ghost screener, and that causes Jalen's man to briefly hesitate, allowing him to get downhill. Another element of Jalen's game that I love is his handle. He's not super dynamic or shifty with the ball right now, but he does have a good overall foundation. When he's being pressured, he's great at using his off arm and turning his shoulder to protect the ball. Williams also has really good lower body strength, being able to get low into his stance and use his legs to push himself downhill. And J-Dub can also be light on his feet when he needs to be, which gives him good rhythm and pace with the rock. Watch on this play how he goes through and skips, and he's going to replant his right to shoot himself downhill. This right here was a pretty advanced move, where Jalen's going to go through and back, and notice how he's going to bring the ball up and shift his weight to his right foot, selling as if he's coming off this screen, but then he's going to bring his left foot up to go through, and he loses Kuminga. And on top of all those skills, Williams has good presence with the ball. He's never in a big rush, and he always has his head up reading the defense. He may only have 1 year of NBA experience, but he moves and handles the ball like a vet by always having his head up and reading the entire floor. Like on this play, the Pacers switch the screen and J-Dub pauses and reads the court, and he sees some open space to attack into. Now I think an area of improvement for Jalen is his finishing around the basket. He really depends on his length and physicality when he's playing around the rim, but that's not enough to consistently score against NBA size. There's lots of times where he does the hard work and gets himself into the deep paint, but he picks up his dribble and gets himself stuck. Over this summer, I would love to see J-Dub add some different pickups and Euro steps in his game, because like we went over, Jalen for sure has the ability to put a ton of pressure on the rim. And if he can just add some of these different dynamic finishes into his game, I think that'll make him a much better downhill scorer. This play perfectly shows what he's missing. You'll see Williams again get downhill, and from this spot it's just him and Aiden playing one-on-one. And you'll notice how Jalen has DeAndre on his heels, and whenever an explosive player gets the big backing up in the paint, that's the perfect time to extend into those strides. But Jalen instead lands on two and picks up his dribble, and from this spot he's pretty much dead, and he puts up an awkward underhand layup. And even though Jalen is a physical driver, I still think he needs to get better at using his body all the way into his finishes. I think he's great at initiating contact while he's driving, but when he's playing around the basket, he does allow his man to push him out into tougher shots. While Jalen's scoring at the rim has some improvement to do, he however has been really productive in the mid-range all year, shooting over 47% for this season. You can tell he's taken some notes from his teammate SGA. They both love to use their rhythm and pace with the ball to work their way to spots, then use their physicality to bump and separate. and J-Dub loves to use his outside shoulder to initiate contact and create space for his pull-up. On this play, we'll see OKC again use their favorite ghost screen, and as Jalen's attacking, notice how off balance his man is, and all Williams is going to do from here is put his shoulder into his man's body, then jump stop on 2, which gives him the leverage and space to rise up. Many of these buckets comes back to Jalen's presence with the ball. He never allows the defense to speed him up. He's always briefly pausing and reading the floor, then attacking into space. Like on this play, J-Dub's working off the screen, and notice how the Pistons are going to switch. But look how this defender turns his back and runs to keep up with the roll man, which opens up all this space. And while that's happening, Jalen has his head up reading the court, and he's going to go through to attack that side of the floor. Now when we look at Jalen's playmaking, this is another area of improvement for him, but this should go without saying, because pretty much every first year player is going to have issues with turnovers and decision making, and plays like this normally get cleaned up with more experience. However, with that being said, Williams does have a good understanding of what he can and can't do as a player. When he attacks and doesn't have any real options, he has no problem giving the ball up, and he's good at making the simple play. Most of his passes aren't real dynamic, but he does take good care of the ball. And again, that advanced playmaking that we normally see from other guards naturally comes with more experience. Now obviously, because Jalen was playing alongside Shea and many other extremely talented players for OKC, a big chunk of his offense came from playing off the ball. And even if Williams continues to develop as a player, he's still not going to have a crazy amount of usage with the ball like we see for other young players. But from what I saw this year, I think J-Dub can do just as much, if not more damage playing off the ball. So because Jalen was playing alongside SGA, who's probably the best driver in the league, he got plenty of spot up threes throughout the season. And while his percentages for this year are nothing to write home about, shooting just under 36% from 3, I do like how his shot is developing. When we look closer at J-Dub's shooting mechanics, he has really good timing from his load up to his set point, getting full extension from his knees and hips right when he releases. And Jalen also has really good stability with his lower body, being able to comfortably move and relocate to open spots and elevate for balanced jumpers. But on top of that, Jalen also has a really good feel of moving off the ball. I love this play here, where Dort attacks from the left slot, and you'll see Josh Giddey cut into the paint. But notice right when Josh cuts, how J-Dub is going to fill in behind him and can this open 3. Now, one mechanical issue Jalen has with his shot is that his shooting elbow flares out, which is why I think he commonly misses right and left. If he could just slightly tuck that elbow in as he releases, that by itself could lift his shooting percentages above 40%. But defenses still respect Williams as a shot maker, so he commonly has defenders heavily closing out to him, which opens up his downhill game. And Jalen's really good at wasting no movement and attacking right off the catch. Watch here how he skips off his right foot before he catches, which allows him to build momentum to explode. Then he gets right to his mid-range game by initiating contact and separating for his jumper. This play here was pretty crafty, where J-Dub has 2 defenders closing out and he throws the ball out in front of him for the split. Then he uses his length to extend into the finish. So to wrap this up, I think what really makes Jalen Williams special is his versatility. He has the physical tools and skill with the ball to have the offense run through him, and he has his shot making an off-ball feel to pair perfectly with a superstar like SGA. If his game continues to develop, I think the sky is the limit for him. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kid should break down next. The kid's here.